Um, if you could kind of share what has helped you get to where you're at today, being a mental
Mhm.
health advocate, what would you share with someone who's listening, maybe not doing so well, but maybe some words of encouragement? Obviously, everyone's situation is different, but anything you would like to share would be appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to writing and producing the writing content that I do, it really um, helps to have purpose.
Hmm.
To have a purpose for that writing and have a reason why you do it. For me, there's a lot of different reasons, but one reason is when I get positive feedback and when I find out that my writing has touched somebody, it just
Hmm.
makes it all the more worth it. To continue on and but as far as anyone out there who's struggling, I would say, don't be afraid to go out there and get help or to ask for help, um, because a lot of times, the quicker you deal with something, the better it's going to be.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, even though you may not feel like it, there really are people out there that want to help you and will help you. So I encourage anybody to definitely get to work on that in any way that they can.
Yeah.
Sure, I'd love to. So the big picture is my mom was a paranoid schizophrenic.
Mm.
And so I grew up in a family that not everyone had the same reality. And it showed me that none of us really do. And we don't really understand what anybody's reality is. My mom chose to kill herself when I was 16, and losing her is definitely what caused me to want to be a psychotherapist, wanting to provide help for those who don't know where it is or don't know how to ask, or aren't honest about things not working. And something that's very, very important is anyone that you're going to ask to help you in your journey, they're there to try to help. So if it's not working, you're not helping them either. They're failing you, but not knowing they're failing. So one of the best things you can do is be completely honest and say, hey, I really like you, and I just need to let you know this isn't working for me at all. What would work for me better is, or I don't like this medication, I'm really not taking it. Could we try something else? If you're not being honest with those people who are there to help you, you're not going to get better to the full extent.
Yeah.
And you're also not helping them be better at their craft. People who actually tell me something isn't working, oh my gosh, it blesses me hugely.
Yeah.
Because then I know I've got to figure something out and I'm about to learn something. And down the road, somebody else might need just that. And I don't want someone to patronize me. Oh, I like her, so I'll pretend therapy's working. No, tell me this isn't working at all. This isn't what I want.
Well, yeah.
I'll change gears, or I'll gladly pass somebody to someone else. The goal is to help you get the help that you need. Not that it has to be me. It doesn't at all, unless I'm the right person.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. And so with my mom, because I grew up in the 60s, you didn't even talk about mental health. I didn't even know what insanity was, or a 5150 until I had to find out what a 5150 was from my mom. So there's much more awareness now. Sadly, there's still so much stigma, but everything is both sides. I can look at myself as, oh gosh, something's wrong, I'm not healthy. And I can say, I'm incredibly proud of myself that I'm going to do something about this and change this. It hasn't felt okay like this, so I'm going to find some way or some group or some doctor to help me move into who it is that I feel that I am to be. It's always both. If we're looking at the problem, we're not able to find the solution. And so since we have a harder time looking at ourselves as a problem, okay, ill, okay, challenged, okay, not perfect. Okay. Then look at the growth side of, well, then what can I do? Where can I go? What can I learn? How do I help myself move beyond where I am right now? Because, like, I'm completely not accepting me right now. And I don't even want you to know that this is me right now. So,
Yeah.
how do I help myself shift? And
So,
how,
for being a parent, and having seen my kids suffer from social media, for example, is to the importance of for parents to transmit to the kids, to explain to the kids that to not believe everything they see because it's not real, and to also try to connect in real life. And because I've seen, even when we were living in the US, everything was going through their phone. Any kind of gathering, anything was through Snapchat. And when his phone got broken, that was very obvious. He suddenly had no social life. So maybe to remember that what you see is not real, because they try to compete and to compare themselves, and they end up feeling less than in a lot of times, and to really connect in real life. I know that it may be difficult for them because they're not used to that. The youth today is really glued to the phone. But to remember that, and also to voice when they don't feel good, say it out loud, because it loses its power when it comes out loud. It losing a little bit of its hold on you. It's not as strong. You don't feel as alone. So those 2 pointers, maybe.
A lot of times we think we need more. Everything on media, everything when it comes to, oh, only if I get this. I do love what this word is from, untranslatable word from the book my wife has. It's from Hindi, and it says Jugad. It says ensuring things happen even with minimal resource. Sometimes we try to challenge ourselves. There's some strange thought that less is more. Sometimes I feel it's more important how I feel and how I think of um, the idea of having less and more that may trigger and may germinate something more stable, more sustainable. It's not just purely challenging myself to have minimal resources, but accepting it. The idea is, I feel it's deeper. At least what I found more helpful. Sometimes, let's say, defining what socially means for you. A lot of times, at least from my experience personally, it can be dictated by others, even with the best intention. But sometimes less can be more. And when I think about community, we have to define that, at least from my perspective, to get a better idea. I may want to socialize, but knowing me, I know there's a fine line of what type of socializing, what would be helpful in the given time. But I think those are kind of questions of that has helped me when I'm thinking about my community and how it relates to me. Another thing I mentioned in some of the guests who come this month was the idea of wabi sabi. It's Japanese noun, finding beauty in imperfections, acceptance of the cycle of life and death. I feel for me, this word, I feel, well, at least what has helped me is the idea that most everything we're doing, our relationships, our work, it's kind of unfinished. There's always that kind of process. It's like life is lived in between things we're trying to do, places we need to be, places we would like to be. So I like the idea that they are content of the incomplete. My lives.
So my story, I raised three kids as a single mom with basically no support. So I didn't really have a strong community around me because I was in the state where I didn't have any family. And when my kids became teenagers, two of them started to really act out in potential dangerous ways, and it spiraled me into depression because I was living in anxiety 24/7. And until I was able to, first of all, realize that I was depressed because I didn't even see it, and then find a way to ask for help. I asked for from the divine, but because I didn't have anyone around me who could help me. And when I realized that, one, I don't control everything and no one, we don't control anyone, and sometimes not even ourselves. And I didn't have power on a certain portion of my life, which was my kids were too experimental with parties and drugs and stuff. And I was always afraid that I would lose a kid. And until I realized that it was not my job to maintain, like, I couldn't be certain that they would be alive if it was in my destiny to lose a kid. There's nothing I could do that would prevent that. So I relinquished that to God, to the universe, to source, whatever you want to call it. And I said, the same way you protected me, protect them. And I allocated all my energy in my zone of power. This was my zone of powerlessness, which I relinquished to God, surrendering to God. I moved to my zone of power where I had to first find a way to move back up from depression, where I used meditation and emotional freedom techniques and mindfulness. And I used my power to change the way I was seeing things so that I could be neutral enough to use my inner resources, my brain, because when you are on stress, when you are on a fight or flight response from your brain, which what happens when you're afraid, your brain doesn't function normally. You don't have access to your full resources. So I wanted to have access to my inner wisdom, my brain resources, and I wanted to be neutral enough to ask for answers, to ask for the next step. And really being flexible enough to not decide how it should look, but be really open to when I asked for an answer or guidance, what was coming my way. Sometimes it was a book, sometimes it was a person, sometimes it was something else. And I changed completely the way that I did life. I really included more of the divine into my life as a co-creator of my life. That's why I called my business Co-Parenting with the Universe, because I really wanted to tap into that power. And later on, I had a suicidal attempt with one of my teens, but I was ready. I had the universe helping me. I was able to stay strong and neutral enough because of what I had gone through before to help my kid at the highest of my possibilities and my abilities. And since then, I really, talking about community, I decided that I would do whatever I could so that no mom would struggle alone like I did. And I would form somehow online or around me a community to remind moms that they were not alone and we have what it takes to go through what happens to us. We just need to remember that. So that's
I think, like you said, it's definitely kind of hard to get back in the swing of things after COVID, because that's always kind of in our minds, in the back of our minds, that whole being more protective of ourselves and everything. But at the same time, I think that, it's good to be somewhat protective over your health, in that, just I would encourage people to, as far as physical health and stuff, always get all the screenings that, you're supposed to and everything. And just maybe, get a physical every year, keep a check on yourself as much as you can, just to, try to stay ahead of things. That's what I try to do, is get, a physical every year, just in case, but, I think it's your wellness, your physical health is going to impact your mental health too, and vice versa. So I think it's very important to try to have a healthy balance between both of those. And there are plenty of doctors out there and stuff that can help you with that. And I think that's a great thing to remember for right now.
What would you want people in 2023, August, to remember about? What would you want people to remember about this month? I know.
I think it's a beautiful tribute to why we're here and how you choose to be here. And the older I get, the more I feel that our life is an expression of deciding and choosing to learn to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if the focus is, I really want to learn how to take care of me, then you're going to then desire to help others do the same for themselves. And people will see it within you. They say you can't really love another until you love yourself. And I used to challenge that.
Mm-hmm.
Huge people pleaser growing up. And so I thought, oh no, I'm really good at loving other people. But me, And the older I get, the more I learn to love myself, the more I realize I actually love people better now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not based upon how they view me.
Mm-hmm.
It's based upon how they view them.
Yeah.
And that takes you to a lovely place. So with it being Wellness Month, with it being Community Wellness Month, there's the place of how well do we hold hands in this community without losing the ability to keep our grounding of who we are to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in a situation where you feel it's compromised, what do you do to take care of yourself? It's important to step in
Mm-hmm.
where you've got something that you want to offer. And it's important to step out when you feel that it's somebody else's turn
Mm-hmm.
to do something, or where there's a place for you to
Mm-hmm.
care for yourself. It's beautiful, and it's kind of sad that we have to have a month to remind us
Mm-hmm.
it's a good thing to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And yet we're so odd that we feel bad about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
People say, don't be selfish. And I agree, don't not care about others. But is caring about what I need selfish?
Mm-hmm.
It's self-care.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's wrong or bad.
Mm-hmm.
But we have spent so much life telling people, you must please others.
Mm-hmm.
Forget you. It doesn't work. And the best way to please others is for you to be completely okay on your own, so they don't need to take care of you. And then you actually have more to offer.
Yeah.
And then you'll know when you need some help. And it's way easier to say, I have tried so hard. I've done everything I know how. I do not know how to do this piece. Could you please help me?
Yeah.
Because you're aware of what you do know. And when you're
Mhm.
aware of what you do know, you become a little bit more clear in what you don't know.
Yeah. What would I want people to remember this month? I would want people to remember that to support one another. There's something about being present. Not having all the answers is okay. And when it comes to community, what would you want people to remember this month, the National Wellness Month? That you're important. Fill in the blank, whatever your name is. John, Sarah, Amy, you're important. Now, in an external side of the world, you might have burned some bridges, you might have hurt some people, you might have hurt yourself. But, asking those questions, I need help, getting the resources, finding and working towards something. Reminding that your value really stems internally, not externally. At least from my experience, will help more along the way. Because then your value is not hinged on something that's outside of you.
Final thoughts.
eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. About when someone wants to tell you something's going on with them, you should listen as opposed to, don't be too quick to give your opinion or to try to fix them, because that can really turn them away.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people just want somebody to listen.
Mhm.
Always, say I don't give advice unless somebody asks for it.
Yeah.
Because if they don't ask for it, they probably don't want it. And if you start just giving them too much advice, you'll really turn them away, and they probably won't do what you advise them to do anyway. So that's a great point about just being a listener. That's very, very important.
Most of us are better at giving to others than we feel that we are in receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really beautiful gift for the person who's giving to have what they're giving received.
Yeah.
So remember that.
A lot of us, I think there's a time when you get adulthood that receiving something's harder. As a kid, you're like, yeah, I got a gift. When you're older, it's like, no, I don't. I'm okay with giving, but I don't want to receive. And I do love that you mentioned that, and also just even piggyback.
The nature of a gift. A gift is I want to do for you.
Yeah.
So if someone comes to you with a gift, you go, no, I don't need that. You're basically saying, I don't want you to love me, and I don't want you to care for me.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they're giving the gift is not, it might be that they think you can't for yourself, but most times it's not. Most times it's just to bless you.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a birthday, and I received some beautiful flowers from a couple that I adore. I didn't need them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful to receive them. They're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And if they had sent them to me on a day that it wasn't my birthday, I still would have been so grateful. They wanted me to feel loved.
Yeah.
I want to feel loved.
Yeah.
I want to keep loving me. So if I reject you trying to express to me that you love me, you very well might stop. And I don't want you to. So let yourself realize the reason you're uncomfortable is because you're feeling a little bit touched.
Yeah.
Touched is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so let yourself feel uncomfortable and tell them, oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for caring about me. It's not, do you need it?
No.
It's, will you let yourself be blessed with it? When Ted died, my late husband, and people were offering stuff, I didn't want anything. And then at one point I thought, but I don't want them to not feel they're important. So I took the case of water, knowing we'd eventually drink it, or the paper towels or what have you. And I realized it wasn't so much, no, I don't need paper towels. It was they were wanting to offer of themselves.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's gorgeous.
It is.
So look for it what it is and don't lessen it. Just be grateful. Someone sees you as someone that they want to bless.
Yeah.
And know you've probably done a really good job blessing them, or they wouldn't even think of doing it. And if you haven't, then you've got the opportunity to do it back and to do it for others. Every place we feel uncomfortable where someone's doing something for us, where we feel, oh, no, not me. It's a beautiful opportunity to kind of go, oh, okay, God, okay, universe, help me in this. Help me be able to do this for others, and then shift, take it in, and then say, oh, I'm going to take this case of water and hand it out to my whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
Pass it on. Pass it on. Don't end it with you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not really growing community.
What came to mind is love comes in many forms. It can be a smile, it can be someone helping someone cross the street, it can be anything. Yeah. But I know when I go to a store and I smile to a cashier who has a hard day, I know, even I'm not a hero for that, but I know it helps a little bit. Yeah. And anything helps. So if you are, because I coach mostly single moms, they don't have a lot of time to help here and there, but you can always smile. You can always, even if it is closing your eyes and sending love, uh, that works.
We're exceptional human beings and unexceptional at the same time. Find a community that you can actually say, I need help. And even furthermore, I encourage you, find a community that you can actually say, oh, I made a mistake. That you could be a little bit more honest. That you don't have to be seen as doing well, even though you're not doing well. Just being you. It could be a few friends, it could be a few friends, a family member, whoever that is. I do encourage you to find them, because accountability is only a bad word if it's not a safe environment that you feel. You can share this. And again, I want to thank you for those who are listening, watching today.